Hello. Well, I've just done something which I've done before, which is record a post without pressing the record button. So this is probably going to be very different to the little um, post that I just put together. Anyway, my mind has been drawn to the subject of having a soul today. It's not for the first time. It's a very important topic if you have a religious faith. But I was reflecting on a reading from the late Vietnamese monk Thich Nhat Hanh in his book, The Art of Living. It's a really wonderful book. And he was recalling a cartoon he once saw with the French philosopher Descartes pointing into the air and uttering his famous words, "I think, therefore I am." And behind him in the cartoon was a horse with the thought bubbles coming out saying, "You think you are what?" Thich Nhat Hanh's point was that can we just be defined by our thoughts or our actions? And he went on to suggest that no, we are the sum of many parts. And indeed, our thoughts and our actions are a product of something else. So he says, the most accurate way to describe the process of thinking is not that there is someone thinking, but that thinking is manifesting as the result of a remarkable, wondrous coming together of conditions. And he talks about the fact that there are millions of neurons working together in our brain, in our body, in constant communication. They act, he says, in concert, producing a movement, a feeling, a thought, or a perception, yet there is no conductor of the orchestra. There is no boss making all the decisions, in control, as it were. So this idea that we are the sum of what we think, say, and do is really what matters here. He describes this a bit like an orange tree ripening. What is the ripening process? The beautiful blossoms, the leaves, the fruit. There is a process of blossoming. Without that, you do not get the blossom. And he says, we can find ourselves only in our actions of body, speech, and mind. This was the important bit for me, continuing as energy across space and time. And that really got me thinking about the idea of the soul. I have reflected on this quite a lot in the past. Not got to the bottom of it. There's no, I'm sure, universal understanding of what the soul is. And indeed, there will be some people who don't even relate to this idea at all, who don't believe in it, if you like. I very strongly do believe that every human has a soul. In my faith, and again, this is just my point of view, that soul carries across between human lifetimes, between incarnations, if you like, and is in a process of being refined, of learning, of growing, often through the situations it's put in. So just to pick up on what one or two others have said, just to give a flavor of some of the views about what the soul may be or is, this immaterial inner essence. The soul designates the immortal essence of a being. It is the seat of personality and true character. Another view, the soul is the subject of human consciousness and freedom. Soul and body together form one unique human nature, and each human soul is individual and immortal, immediately created by God. One particular view that I very strongly relate to, and another go-to, like Thich Nhat Hanh for me, is the late Irish poet John O'Donoghue, who beautifully described the union between, as he sees it, between primal beauty, between God, what he says is the image of the beatific vision where the soul and God become one gaze, in which this ultimate portrait of the soul fills out, as he puts it, and all of our different selves unite. The selves we are and were and could have been and could be, the unchosen selves, all our nights and days, our visible and invisible lives. Beautiful words there. So again, this idea that the soul is the real core, the real seat of what we come to think and what we come to do as a result. So I start to think here there's a real crossover between, and I won't go into this because it's not the point of this post, between Buddhist teaching on right mind, right thinking, and moving towards a state in which we are being refined and ultimately merge with eternal bliss, what they call nirvana, and the Christian idea of becoming united fully with God and detaching from everything that separates us from God, in other words, in the Christian language, sin. So where does this all fit in with masculinity, femininity, maleness, and femaleness, you might ask? I think it's that last John O'Donoghue quote there, this idea that we perhaps go through many lives, that comes home for me. I don't know what it means to have a masculine or a feminine soul, or a male or a female soul. I don't actually believe that there is a gender attached to a soul. We come into bodies in different incarnations, probably, in my view, for different reasons. If you feel you've been born into the wrong body, it may be that one of the challenges you have in this life is to deal with that situation, and that is a learning for the soul. Just as I believe everybody is presented with challenges, not necessarily through the physicality of their body, but for different circumstances, different situations they come into. Possibly. That's just one possibility. But do we have a male soul, a female soul, in our essence, this bundle of energies, if you like, with its karma, its imprints of memories and grudges and judgments, and it's sort of struggling to perfect and to become more godly, if I can put it in those terms, through what we experience in life? I don't think so. I think it really does transcend, as Thich Nhat Hanh says, time and space, and as John O'Donoghue says, expresses itself through different lifetimes in so many varied, different forms, which of course means presenting in different bodies, different ethnicities, and at different periods in human time. So just some thoughts here, just to throw into the mix of how we get to the bottom of our sexual nature. Here, I think detaching ideas around gender and our true person, the seat of our personality. This all rings true for me. I realize it's not a view that's going to be held by everybody, and particularly those who don't have or follow a faith tradition. But I thought I'd put it out in case it raises something for you.